what are some of the challenges that are specific to that component of an IoT solution? Because I think that's an area where a lot of people know about the hardware, but might not really understand how hard or difficult it is sometimes to bring the hardware to market, to scale the business, to be able to support that solution long term. Because it's not just software, it's not a connectivity provider, it's a little bit different. So, what are the challenges when it comes to the hardware based businesses and scaling that you recognize or seen?
Well, there's several dimensions to that. First of all, just the production of the hardware. I think that if we were to do a study, and I'm talking about hardware generically and specifically the device that's doing the monitoring, I'd say a majority of those devices today are manufactured in China, in mainland China, and for good reason, because they have the technology, they have the ability to scale it, and they can do it at a very, very low cost. And so everybody's trying to hit that price point, that feature function capability. Most certainly our devices are currently manufactured in mainland China. So there's the element of where do you manufacture them? And what is, the price point versus the value that the device creates? That historically, if you went back 5 years, that would be no big deal. But what's happening more recent is it is becoming a bit of a big deal because there's certain classes of customers that will not accept an IoT device if the PCB specifically, the printed circuit board, is manufactured in mainland China. And I didn't anticipate this when I took the job, but I most certainly have become much more aware of it. And the user groups that are concerned about this represent a significant size of the early adopter market. So that's one dimension that I think people have become focused on. The second thing is, there are so many really compelling devices that bring such high value to the end user, but the installation of that device, the complexity of the install, uh, and the requirement to leverage, professional labor to do it has actually become a bit of an obstacle. And I think it's a little bit unique to the US, maybe US, Canada. I most certainly don't see the issue being quite as extreme in Europe or in Asia, but if we, by example, measure energy, power and energy. And so frequently the customer wants to see an electrician, a qualified electrician, be part of that process. And at least initially at a minimum, and finding and scheduling the resource, the electrician that's typically done by the client can be prohibitive, meaning timing, and the ability to get that resource on site at the right time to perform those services. I've actually found that the requirement for that kind of assistance, to the extent it's required, can exceed the cost of the implementation of the hardware and the gateways. And so there's a dimension that complicates the delivery of the hardware in some instances, and that's been a factor as well.